What is going on, everybody? It is Dr. Jamar Montgomery of drjamarmontgomery.com, and I am so glad to be here with you all today. The civics course is on its way. That should be up on our website, drjamarmontgomery.com, in about 3 days. So be on the lookout for that. Um, but happy Sunday to everybody. Happy Sunday. Oh, no, it's not Saturday. It's Saturday. Crazy. Happy Saturday to everybody. I hope that everybody is enjoying their Saturday today. I know that I am. I went and celebrated. I went and celebrated my cousin's. She had a celebration for 12 years of sobriety. So, congratulations to her. And that is such a beautiful thing. And one of the things that really struck to me was that she had a lot of support from her sponsors and from her community and other women who were in recovery, um, because when we are addicted to things, it is bad for our health. When we are addicted to things, uh, it it just affects everything in our lives. What's going on, one J Creation? What's going on, Jimmy Jones? Good old Jimmy Jones, who's working on his pilot's license right now. I'm right behind you, brother. Um, but yeah, my cousin is she's been 12 years sober, 12 years clean, which is a beautiful thing. And it got me thinking because we were having a conversation, and they started talking about politics. And anybody that knows me, I'm going to be sitting there. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on politics. And one of the things that they were talking about was, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And they asked me what my thoughts were, and I said, I think that it was unfortunate that the Democratic Party didn't open up the primary process to the rest of the Democratic Party. I think that was a real disservice. And why did I think that was a disservice? I thought it was a disservice because name me a vice president that you knew was effective outside of Dick Cheney. Name me a vice president outside of Dick Cheney that was effective, that we know was doing things, that we knew was running the show. Right? And one of the ladies is like, you got a point. I said, for us, we're expecting, black folks, unfortunately, are expecting for Kamala Harris to be the savior of black folks. And I think that is a foolish desire. And I said that, personally, it would have been nice to open that process up, open up the nomination process up to whoever wanted to run for the office. But it seemed like the Democratic Party decided that they were going to do an audible because they were in crisis, which I understand. But at the same time, you're talking about a vice president who we cannot necessarily point to anything that she has been responsible for as a vice president, versus compared to a Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania or a Governor Gavin Newsom of California, right? People who are in executive positions that are responsible for an entire state. And the thing about running a state like California is that California is the is the ninth largest economy in the world, and the states have their own, are like little countries, to tell you the truth. So someone who is used to running a large state, a large enterprise, now being able to be in that position versus a Kamala Harris who we're hoping that she'll be able to do the job. So I thought that it was a disservice to not only the Democratic Party, but to the American people, and particularly to Kamala Harris, that President Biden didn't decide to step down a year ago, or he didn't make it clear that he was going to groom Kamala Harris for the job for this particular election. I think that was a major disservice. How is it that when the classified documents case was coming out, that the special prosecutor basically said that President Biden isn't cognitively isn't there cognitively enough to be able to stand trial um or to be held responsible for those documents, but he's cognitively able to run a country. Like if you're good enough to run a country, then you should be good enough to be held accountable for violations of the law. All right. But hey, a lot of people had issues with that. But okay. So my challenge has been with Kamala Harris, right? Is that we're hoping, America is hoping, the Democrats are hoping that she will do great things for America. And I'm just not I'm not confident in that. I'm not. But let's talk about this addiction part. The black folks in America have been addicted to the promises of the Democratic Party. That isn't to say that there are people in the Democratic Party and candidates that belong to the Democratic Party that haven't done great things. There have been people who have done great things. However, the Democratic Party as a whole has made a lot of promises to Black America and has not received those promises. Jimmy Jones said, "Do black men have a clear ear listening to Kamala despite her husband and kids' race? I think it's an elephant in the room. What's your expert perspective? Do black men have a clear ear listening to Kamala despite her husband and kids' race?" Jimmy Jones, you bring up a great question. I think that black men want to be spoken to. And when you can't blame black men when you lose an election, and you got to speak to our issues in a special way. And guess what? Kamala Harris isn't speaking to the issues of black men. What are the issues of black men, right? Because black men are not a monolith. Black people are not a monolith. The issues of for black men is employment, entrepreneurship, housing. Point blank period. If you take care of black entrepreneurs, if you take care of black entrepreneurs, if you take care of black employment, and if you take care of housing for black men, there's a lot of things that black men can focus on. So black men, I think that the challenge is that Kamala Harris hasn't necessarily been speaking to those particular issues for black men. Now, Giggle says she has a down payment program. That's good. That's good. The problem is you want my specific vote as a black man, but you're telling me about programs that everybody's going to benefit from. You get what I'm saying? So it's one thing if you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to be in the kitchen making a pot of soup." And yeah, everybody wants a pot of soup. Everybody loves soup. But what if I want a cake that's just for me? You want something from me, and I'm saying to you that I want something in specifically for my vote. And I think that a lot of times that the much of the focus for black men or the issues of black men has to deal with, oh, we're going to stop the police from, we're going to deal with police brutality. Let me tell you like this. Money answereth all things. Money answereth all things. What does that mean? That means that if you help me as an entrepreneur in the form of business grants, in the form of business loans, which has been given to a lot of particularly illegal immigrants that are coming in New York and in Chicago, right? In the forms of business funding, in the terms of free housing, right? Things that people who are not paying taxes in this country but are benefiting from the tax dollars of tax-paying citizens that the tax-paying citizens don't even have access to. You're going to have a level of resentment by black men. And why is that resentment there? Because black men right now feel like they're on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to receiving things, when it comes from receiving things from their government. If it's anything that black men have been receiving, it has been the short end of the stick. It has been the short end and the most brutal end of the stick. A lot of times what politicians will do is they'll speak to criminal justice reform. Well, not all of us have criminal records. Not all of us are worried about police brutality. Now, you're talking to somebody who has a criminal record. You want to know how my criminal record affected me? My criminal record affected me when I wanted to be a substitute teacher to teach black children in Washington, D.C. Here it is. At that time, I had an engineering degree. I had just finished my law degree and was finishing up my MBA. But because I had a criminal record, I had a DUI. Because I had a DUI, that was an issue on my with me becoming a substitute teacher. Not everybody. Oh, Jimmy Jones is like, yeah, man. And the fact that I'm a genius, that I started college at 14 years old. I started taking college classes at 11, but started full time at 14, graduated at 19 with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, worked for the United States Navy, held a security clearance, helped save the world back when North Korea and Kim Jong Un was talking trash. Like, despite all of that, I could not become a a substitute teacher in DC, in DC, because of my criminal record, because I had a DUI, right? So not everybody is looking. Now, did that was me just wanting to be able to help and pour into my community, right? But what's most, if I wasn't worried about my community, I'm just worried about helping myself and helping my family. I want to make sure that I, as a qualified black man, am not discriminated against in getting federal jobs and private sector jobs. That's something that I'm focused, that's important to me. I, as a black man that wants to provide for myself and provide for my family, I want to make sure that I get the funding that I need for my business so that I can go and be successful, so that I can chart and control my own destiny. Those are the things that are important to me. I want to make sure that I, as a black man, can afford a home, that I have a decent place to live, that I'm empowered to have control and have say in my community. Those are things that I believe that intelligent black men who are looking to take care of themselves, looking to take care of their family, that they are concerned with. They're not worried about pronouns. They're not worried about the LGBT. They're not to say that those things aren't things that not to say that those communities don't have their own issues and have things that they need to be addressed, but that's not my issue. That's not what I can spend all of my energy focused on, right? So when we look at a Kamala Harris, it's a hope of, you're going to do something for me, versus when you look at a President Trump and let's see, what were you able to do underneath a Trump presidency? Because if you're thinking that you're going to be able to do what you did, if you think that if you think that you're going to get from Kamala what you got from Biden, then you're just saying that Kamala is just a puppet, and that she doesn't have her own ideas, that she doesn't have her own way of thinking, that she doesn't have her own way of administering and governing. So are we going to say that? So we're going to give her the fact of, hey, because the continuation of democratic policies, that is going to be good for the country. I think one of the things that we as intelligent people should really be focused on is not about the hope, but recognizing what are the issues that you're willing to show up at somebody's front door and fight about. Let's go look at the comments. Let's look at the comments. Said, not got going to happen if history best rewards all resource. Kamala has handlers. Kamala looks like Hillary Clinton. That's funny. Send her a menu in her shoes. Absolutely, I am going to send her a menu. Jeep Man said, I'm ungrateful. That's funny. That's funny. I just believe that I should be getting something from each one of my politicians. And the thing about it is, one of the ways that you that one of the ways one of the best ways that you can ensure that you get something from your politician is by being organized. One of the challenges that we have as black folks is that organizing around a specific issue. I'm going to say this, that as somebody black, ooh, waltz like abortion all the way up to birth. Even if he didn't, right? Because I actually want to deal. I don't want to deal with what the media says. I want to deal with what the actual policies of each politician has to do, right? And what do I mean by that? If you're going to say something negative about Trump, I want it verified. If you're going to say something negative about Kamala Harris, I want it verified because I want to deal with facts. I don't want to deal with my feelings. I don't want to deal with assumptions. I want to deal with what the facts are, right? One of the things that I will say is that um, I don't want this issue of abortion. This issue of abortion, right? There are people who are living in on and dying on that hill of abortion. And I'm just asking, like, don't you have more important things than abortion? And if not, that's fine. But you know, if you're not worried about the IRS taxing your crypto, if you're not worried about the fact that like 25,000 more IRS agents were hired and they're not there to do audits on the large corporations like Amazon who pay zero in federal taxes over the last couple of years, they're going to be auditing the regular individuals like you and me, going through our taxes, finding some way of being able to steal from you. Emerson said, voting for Trump, what's he going to do for you and black people? That's a great question, Emerson. How much access has how much access has you know what? I'm gonna deal with that question. Thank you, Emerson. He said, "Abortion, mind your own business, people." Abortion is my business, and the reason why abortion is my business is because abortion violates the property rights of fathers. Eric, appreciate you, Eric. Abortion violates the property rights of fathers. And anybody that says my body, my choice means that they're fine with violating the property rights of men who want to be fathers. Um, Eric said, voting for Trump, what's he going to do for you and black people? Well, one of the things for me is that uh, President Trump has been the only president, only president that has had a pro crypto policy that has went and spoke at Bitcoin 2024. So making sure that he gets rid of a lot of the regulations that deal with crypto and prevent crypto companies from growing. One of the other things for black people, uh, thank you, Eric. I'm a father of a daughter too. For black people, one of the things that Trump, when I spoke with him, he was very concerned about black business and he was very concerned about HBCUs. Um, I know that a lot of and watch this. I was somebody that was critical of the HBCU presidents for meeting with Trump. But then I grew up, I got older, became more mature, and I realized, hey, the HBCU presidents are supposed to be meeting with President Trump to make sure that they get something from a Trump administration. The thing is we're expecting for these people, we're expecting for these people to make the best decisions for us when they have 400 million people to govern, 400 million people to govern, and 6.1 billion people to influence. It's our job to force our politicians. And the thing is because Trump is he's less of an outsider than he was back in 2015, but he's still an outsider, is that you got the right amount of money, you'll be able to have access to Trump. That's the thing. With the Kamala Harris and the Democrats campaign, it's about who you know versus how much money that you got. And having the right amount of money just means that I have the right numbers. Eric said, "I trust my daughter to make the choice for her body." Eric said Trump did nothing for the HBCUs. All right, well we can look that one up, brother. We could definitely look that one up. Let's see. Let me change this up for us real quick. Let's see if that works. Trump did nothing for the HBCUs. Let's look what they had to say. HBCU president Trump article. Let's do that. I'm doing the fact chunking right now. So Inside Higher Ed, it said, did Trump get HBCUs all funded? Advocates and leaders of historically black colleges say Trump's presidency was a mixed bag for their institutions, and his record may signal what's ahead for them if he wins again. This was written July 19, 2024. All right. During his presidential debate in late June, he emphasized policies as appealing to black voters. Uh, it wasn't the first time the former president, now Republican nominee, has made bold claims about his support. In 2020, he said that Trump famously said at the Davos Economic Conference in 2020 that he saved HBCUs. Now watch this. If he wasn't concerned about the issues of black people, he wouldn't even talk about HBCUs at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Right? Davos. This is a place where I have spoken. I've spoken during the World Economic Forum in Davos. And it ain't that many black folks. If there's black folks there, they're from Africa. Most of the African Americans that are in at the World Economic Forum in Davos, it's only a few of us, a handful of us, and most of us know each other. So let's see this. Jimmy Jones said, I don't even like Trump. This is why we lose all arguments, because of an emotional bias. Yes, let's look at the facts. Let's look at the facts. Eric said he wants our vote, but he's all talk. Well, you know what? I have a real issue with the fact that the Biden administration would not meet with Ice Cube when he had a plan for Black America. The Trump campaign was willing to meet with him, but the Biden administration wasn't. They won't talk to Ice Cube, who had a plan, who's a rapper, an entertainer, a movie star, a mogul, a millionaire. They wouldn't talk to him, but they'll talk to retarded ass Cardi B, and have stupid ass Quavo, and have Megan Thee Stallion's twerking himself up there. But they're not dealing with the actual black intellectuals, and artists and pop culture icons that actually can move the culture. Right? Ryan Mason said he had proposed zero. It wasn't until the senator put it in. I'm just saying, man. Vote your pocketbook. Vote your pocketbook. Find out what is the most important issues that you have. What are the most important issues that you have? Right? What are the things that you are willing to show up at somebody's front door? If you were king or queen for a day, what would be the things that you're changing? Eric said Trump and MAGA are repealing voting rights in red states, closing polling stations. They're making it difficult to vote? Absolutely. And guess what black folks are sitting around doing? Allowing them to do it. Voting rights and civil rights. Jimmy Jones said, Doc, I was a state director and traveled 5 months with Biden. During the race, I was actually in the room, on the planes, the hotels, etc. Doc, no, we be talking. Jimmy, they just don't know. They don't know. They don't know. I'm going to give Jimmy his flowers right now, because Jimmy is one of the coldest, smoothest intellectual guys. Excuse me, let me put some respect on Dr. Jimmy Jones's name. It is Dr. Jimmy Jones now. The same Dr. Jimmy Jones that was the state director for Biden's campaign. That was working for Biden's campaign, that has been interfacing with the Biden-Harris administration for digital transformation projects all over the South and in the Mississippi Delta area. Like, this is a heavy brother right here. And mind you, once again, I ran as an independent. I'm not in the Democrats' business like that. Eric said MAGA doesn't want minority people to vote. They want minority people to vote. They just don't want. They want minority people to vote Republican. That's the real issue. They don't know. They don't want us to know what they've done to black people in U.S. history, which is why black people should be part of the school board. The thing is, if you know that somebody is doing something, right? If you know that somebody is doing something, here's the issue. Democrats take black folks' vote for granted. And we put all of our hopes, all of our trust in the Democratic Party. The Republicans have their own issue and have their own policy agendas. And they're like, this is what we're pushing. There's some stuff that's actually good for you, black folks, but this is what we're pushing. If black folks who are normally have conservative views, are conservative when it comes to social issues, decided, you know what? I'm going to interface with the Republicans. I'm going to interface with the Republicans, and I'm going to push this. I'm going to push this. People talk about the critical race theory. How about just teach American history? Jimmy Jones says it was all a lie. Reason why I feel this way. Doc is right, y'all. Trust me. We've had these conversations for years. Once again, Dr. Jimmy Jones is somebody that has been working inside. This dude, me and him would exchange pictures. Let me put it like this. Me and him would exchange pictures. He's got pictures with Biden and Harris, and then I show him a picture of me at the G7. I show him pictures of me in Davos doing my thing. This is a brother that's in there, and mind you, this guy has worked on so many campaigns and gotten so many people elected. Right? Jimmy Jones said blacks were actually Republicans first. We only became Democrats because it was financially opportunistic for them. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's the thing. Don't hate the player, hate the game. MAGA is closing down voting stations down in minority communities all over the red states, so why vote for them? Black folks got to get up and go vote and got to raise hell. And a lot of stuff that happens to black folks is because we allow it. It's because we allow it. Let's think about this. As somebody that has been on the ground working in campaigns, working on voter mobilization, voter organization, and you have to beg people to get up and go vote their own interests. I'm not even telling you who to vote for. Just go and go vote. Go and go vote. And people will not go and go vote. So guess what? You have the same amount of people who are just sitting there making the same decisions for the rest of the country, and then everybody else complaining about the decision that they had a chance to voice their opinion on and they didn't. We do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. Anna Helps Change said Project 2025 has to go. Ryan Mason said you were paying higher taxes because of Trump. Ice Cube, you were kidding. That's funny. You were kidding, right? Who makes the laws around voting precincts? Ooh, Jimmy. Jimmy, you might have a better answer for that one, brother. Who makes the actual voting machines? A company named Diebold. Another company. Another company. I just always remember Diebold. See, Jimmy, now you touching on some even heavier stuff. You're going even deeper than what I was going, bruh. Once again, this is Dr. Jimmy Jones is somebody that if anybody knows, if it's anybody that I'm going to consult about this kind of stuff, it's going to be him. Once again, this was somebody that this is all I'm saying is that you're not. Ooh, who checks the voting machines after blacks think they vote and feel good? Ooh, let's ask another question. Who are the Electoral College? Who are the Electoral College? Because you're not voting for the actual president, you're voting on the electors for who's electing the president. And these are people who have been rewarded with this position of power and influence to vote on who's going to be president. So what do they get out of the deal? Jimmy Jones said, who delivers the voting machines prior to them being set up? Ooh, Jimmy, you getting into the X-Files right now, bruh. Everyone here, go on YouTube and subscribe to the Defiant Lawyers there, Black Civil Rights. Everyone here, go to Dr. Jamar Montgomery on YouTube and subscribe to Dr. Jamar Montgomery on YouTube. Everyone here, go to Dr. Jamar Montgomery on TikTok and follow Dr. Jamar Montgomery on TikTok and push the bell an icon for notifications. Everybody here, go to drjamarmontgomery.com and you go get my civics course in about 3 days. Jimmy Jones said, "Who owns the data systems that control the voting machines?" Woo. Jimmy, you dropping bombs on them, bruh. What Jimmy is saying, what he's saying in so many words, is that there are players behind the players. So we think that it's just, there's the elementary level of, you got to get out and vote. Then there's the master's level of, hey, well, you got to organize your finances and organize your money so that you can have a PAC and so that you can have a super PAC so that you can influence. And then now Jimmy's bringing in the technological point. One thing that I talked about in the Louisiana Judicial College, in the National Council of Judges, of, there is the physical suppression, there's suppression by law, and there's technological suppression. Jimmy's talking about the technological suppression. Who's checking the machines? Who's verifying that, hey, once it gets to this particular level, once there's this imbalance in voting, change this up? Who owns that? Who owns the data systems that control the voting machines? Like I said, Jimmy is giving us X-Files stuff right now. What about states that closed their presidential ballots already? Write in some names. We're getting real information. The popular vote is undermined by the Electoral College. Maybe. Depends on the state. Depends on if you have what we call a faithless elector, meaning somebody that has pledged to vote for someone else for someone else and decides at the last minute that they're going to vote for the opposition. Depends on that. Depends on the law of the state on whether or not it's winner take all or if it's proportional. There is no maybe? Okay, no problem. Well, let me put it like this. Let me put it in this way then. Each electoral college vote is worth about 770 to about 770 has the power to invalidate about 770,000 popular votes. Jimmy Jones said, "I can change your vote with the click of a button on the beach in Bali," or guess what? Russia has been proven. Woo. Eric said Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes and lost the election due to the Electoral College. Well, guess what? That was the rules, right? Those were the rules. 130 electoral votes that the Dems won't get. Thank you for that, Natasha. What I'm saying is that even when government systems or voting systems fail you, you need policies that are going to make sure that you are fed, that you are employed, that you are housed. And if you think that all of a sudden you allow more people into the country, into the country, now mind you, I have no problem with legal immigration. What I have a problem is that people who come here illegally be given access to resources that I, as a red-blooded American born and raised here, do not have access to. And the thing is, a lot of people all over the nation don't know what that's like. But if you've lived in California or you lived in Texas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Jim 9706 says Donald Trump commits crimes, RFK stages bear bike crimes, and Kamala prosecutes crimes. You want to know one of the things about that? One of the issues that I have with Kamala Harris is that they try to talk about this police reform, but Kamala Harris doesn't have a history of prosecuting bad cops. And that's the thing. If cops knew that they could go to jail for committing crimes, they'd be less likely to violate the constitutional and civil rights of its citizens. Ooh. The voting machines are constantly checked by random audits of the paper votes to check accuracy. Sats818 said, imagine if Hillary was president. Guarantee we would have been in war. Jimmy Jones said, racism has a new face and is fueled by cybersecurity, sewer lines, education, and water lines. Ooh. Talk to him, Jimmy. Talk to him, Jimmy. Talk to him, Jimmy. Talk to him. Talk to him. Racism has a new face and is fueled by cybersecurity, sewer lines, education, and water lines. Guess what? I don't have to be racist on my face. I just make sure that you don't get that you don't get clean water. I just make sure that your sewer systems don't work. And that was something that we had to deal with in Louisiana, in Mansfield, Louisiana. Sewer lines, say that again. Racism has a new face and is fueled by cybersecurity, sewer lines, education, and water lines. Maury Wood said Trump for prison 2024. I want all crooked politicians to be in jail. Official Dejanay Shaw said, hello, what's up, Dejanay? What's happening with you? What's happening with you? See, I got people who have ran campaigns, who have been campaign staff. I got people who have been candidates that are showing up. I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And when we make our loyalty to parties versus policies, we get ourselves in trouble. Why? Because the person can change. The person can get pressure put on them by a very powerful group. Nature Boy said, what's up, Jamar? What's happening, Nature Boy? How you doing? Nature Boy asked me, are you running for president? You know, the thought has crossed my mind. And it just takes money. It takes money and it takes a little bit of time. Jimmy Jones said, if you sick, uneducated, mentally ill, or in jail, you can't vote, or you don't feel like it's a priority. Point blank. Point blank. Point blank. You're sick. You can't get to the. You may not be able to get to the ballots. You may not be able to get to the ballots. If you're uneducated, you like, man, my vote don't matter no way. So why I gotta be involved in this? If you're mentally ill, you just not there. And if you're in jail, they're not gonna make sure that you're able to go and vote. And the people who need to be voting the most are people who have criminal records. That has always bothered me, right? I don't mind people saying, you know what, I really don't get involved in politics publicly, but I'm gonna be voting. And then they're like, well, you know, I'm gonna just figure it out. I'm gonna just figure it out. Okay, cool, figure it out. But you know, it could be a little bit easier if you interface with your politicians. Judge Eileen Cannon, Trump appointed judge, dismissed this case because Jack Smith's evidence was damning. All I'm saying is that we really need to look at what's being fed to us, who benefits from the information, from us operating in a certain way, and who doesn't benefit. If you think that Kamala's going to be your savior, prepare to be disappointed. The thing, with Trump is that he's a known quantity. He's a known quantity. You know he's going to lie. What is he going to lie about? He's going to lie about anything that you and I would lie about. Let's give an example. You threw a party. You threw a party, and you know you got a bunch of haters. And they're going to ask you how many people that showed up to your party. Let's say only 25 people showed up. You're going to be like, man, 100 people showed up. And you're like, well, he's lying. Well, you know, if you're dealing with people who don't like you and going to find any reason to have something to say about you, why give them any more ammunition? Nature Boy said she dismissed it because the appointment of Jack Smith was unconstitutional. The appointment of Jack Smith was unconstitutional. Thank you for reminding me of that, Nature Boy. I appreciate that. So I'm saying, y'all, let me say it this: I am in no way going to disrespect Kamala Harris. No way going to disrespect Kamala Harris. Um, I'm not her biggest fan, and I have clear eyes about Kamala Harris. One of the things, now watch this. You vote for Trump and Project 25 get executed, you won't vote again. Um, you vote for Trump and Project 2025 gets executed, you won't vote again. Do you know how many? Do you know how many? Do you know how many things have to go right, have to happen in order for Project 2025 to occur? Mm. Jimmy Jones said, I just spent a month in China. They are hoping Kamala wins. I asked why, and they say we will control international import. This is Jimmy Jones said, this is not about Kamala. It's not. Jimmy Jones said, it's about emotional black people. And black people just emotional. Why? And that's the thing. They know that that's going to play on our emotions. They know it's going to play on emotions. Hey, we have this. We have this emotional. We have this incredible black woman. We have this incredible black woman that that went to Howard University. This incredible melanated woman that went to Howard University, that was the district attorney for, what was it, San Francisco? Then she became the attorney general for California. Then she became a United States senator. And now she became the first, I don't know, melanated woman for vice president. The first woman vice president. And the first melanated woman vice president. Isn't that progress? Isn't that what you want? You want progress. You want a place that's representative of you. Representative of you on surface level. But is it representative of you on a policy level? Sats818 said, Project 2025 is not a Trump agenda. Eric said the Heritage Foundation will fire all the bureaucrats in Washington and put in place 4,000 pre-screened Trump sycophants. Heritage Foundation doesn't have that kind of juice that can fire all the bureaucrats in Washington. And believe you me, that the moment that you start trying to fire bureaucrats, there are people who are benefiting from some of those bureaucrats being in office. I'll give you an example. With the SEC is a revolving door. And so people who work on Wall Street end up getting, people who came from the SEC end up working on Wall Street. And then every now and then you get people from Wall Street going to the SEC. You want people who are going to be there. You want people who are going to be there who understand how the government works and the things that needs to happen. They say all this about getting rid of people. They over talk what their capabilities are, and then under deliver because of the realities of the system. As they do, they will give Trump executive orders to fire them. I'm going to tell you right now, there are too many powerful entities outside of the Heritage Foundation that will not allow that to happen. Just telling you. Nature Boy said, I don't know why, but a lot of black men do not support Harris. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't care about race. I care about policy. Cambo said, what is Trump policy? And he said, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Cool. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Nature Boy, there's a lot of black men who are actually supporting Kamala Harris. Let's get that clear. There's a lot of black men who are supporting Kamala Harris. In fact, you can turn on the radio and you can see a Charlemagne the God supporting. These are prominent black men. But prominent black men like myself are not. Charlemagne the God, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, and Van Jones. A lot of these people are supporting Kamala Harris. Cool. But guess what? I don't want my president choosing to have a Megan Thee Stallion on stage twerking. Here we go. Jimmy Jones says, how we go from Michelle Obama to Megan Thee Stallion and Quavo. Newsflash, chronic voters. who voted in the last three elections and are a necessity for a Democratic win don't even know who Meg or Quavo is. Ooh. Mm. Um, the Heritage Foundation will give Trump executive orders to fire them. They will be taken to court and they will fail due to Trump's executive orders. The Supreme Court has given the next president 100% immunity. The president already had immunity. That's the reason why Obama was able to he was called the porter in chief. That's the reason why Obama was able to perform drone strikes on people who were American citizens who were fighting against America. There's a reason why every from my analysis, every president within the last 30 years has committed some level of war crimes. So the Supreme Court granting immunity, granting immunity to the president is something that's already enshrined in the Constitution, and we think that, oh, they just gave it to Trump. No, they gave it to every president. Let's see. The balance of power is no longer equal between the branches of government. The Supreme Court has given the next president the power of the king. No, 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 not true. The branches of government evaluated Obama's acts. Let me say it like this. Now the Constitution, has the Constitution been changed? It's definitely been changed. But I'm trying to tell you that if you look at, because I did a live on this. If you look at which part of it is it Article 3? You guys are gonna make me go back to becoming a constitutional scholar. I was one in law school. Let me go to where I had it. Now other branches of the government can no longer oversee the president. Yes, you can. Congress controls, has the power of the purse. Power of the purse. Very important power. Let's see if it will pull up. It's that one. Let's switch it up. I had the whole argument for you, as a matter of fact. Let me deal with it like this. Supreme Court can't change the Constitution. They only interpret what the Constitution says. Eric, and that's okay that you think that. That's okay that you think that. You said, no, not if the Supreme Court changed the Constitution. Didn't change the Constitution. They've interpreted it. They're doing the interpretation. Eric's saying you're in error. Okay. Guess what? Guess what? What law school did you go to, Eric? What law did you practice? That's not to say you're not an intelligent individual, because I'm sure you are. Your commentary shows that you are a smart and intelligent individual. But this is my expertise. This is my expertise. Let me go to the U.S. Constitution for you real quick. Let's go to the U.S. Constitution. We got Article 1, which deals with the legislative. Article 2, which deals with the executive. All right. Let's go here. What are the powers of the president? Let's go to the powers of the president. The president shall be the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States, of the United States, and of the militia of the several states. The president, he shall from time to time give Congress updates on the information of the State of the Union, recommend to their let's see. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. They gave the president a lot of power in the Constitution because they realized that the president, there was no way to identify every single instance, every single thing that the president was going to encounter. And so they wanted to give the president a lot of leeway. Oh, and what about this check of powers, the balance of powers? Oh, that's why you have the legislative branch. You have the legislative branch that is a check and balance on not only the judiciary but also on the executive, and vice versa. Lady Hope Vision, what's happening? What's going on? Let me go here. It is. It's not on this one. It's on another computer. I have another. I have my information for y'all. The immunity part is it not only the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Yes. What does that mean? That means that they took it from a decision of the federal government to a decision that needed to be decided among the states, meaning that the states, the people, it wouldn't be the federal government that is deciding what everyone should do. It would be, hey, maybe in Louisiana you don't want it, but in California you want it. So guess what you get up and do? Get up and go vote. Point blank, period. Once again, abortion violates the property rights of men, of fathers. Let's see what else. What else? What else? What else do we have? What else do we have? I really appreciate Brother Jimmy for showing up. He was dropping some heavy stuff for us. But yeah, it is written as law as precedent. Yeah, and it just got overturned. So it's no longer precedent. It's a good thing. Roe v. Wade was Supreme Court law. It's an interpretation of the Constitution. Therefore, it becomes what the Constitution says. It's dealing with what the law is. The Supreme Court is not allowed to change the law. The Supreme Court is interpreting the law. They say what the law actually means. So are they changing the law or changing the understanding of how it is applied? Think about that. Think about that. The Supreme Court is not allowed to overturn laws? What? What? That? What? You can't be serious. You can't be serious. Okay. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that one. Go read Marbury versus Madison, Eric. Abortion is legal in California. It says so in the state constitution. Absolutely. Go read Marbury versus Madison, Eric. I hope you should. That is a seminal case in every law student's journey. You're required to read it in civil procedure. You're required to read it in constitutional law. So if the Supreme Court says that a law is unconstitutional, then what? That's my point. They can say whether a law is constitutional or unconstitutional. Once again, they're interpreting the Constitution. They're interpreting laws, and if it abides by the Constitution. And if the law doesn't abide by the Constitution, then that's what it is. B said Trump 2024. Thank you everyone for the roses. Thank you everyone for the likes. What other questions? This has been a lively discussion. The primary role of the Supreme Court in many countries, including in the United States, is to interpret laws rather than to create or change them directly. What are they interpreting them against? Let's go here. Read Marbury versus Madison, Eric. Once again, I only debate my equals. All others I teach. So I'm getting ready to teach. Marbury versus Madison. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Supreme Court case Marbury versus Madison established the principle of judicial review, which is the power of the federal courts to declare legislative and executive acts unconstitutional. Once again, interpreting the law and declaring whether that law follows the Constitution or doesn't follow the Constitution. Eric said Trump for prison 2025. Funny thing is that I actually wanted to see Trump get convicted and then get sentenced to jail time and then have people vote for him and see what kind of constitutional crisis that puts America in, so that we can see whether or not America really stands on business when it comes to the law. Because nothing in the law says that if you have a criminal record that you can't be president. Nothing in the law says that you can't run the White House from a prison cell. But yeah. It has been an interesting time in American politics. A very interesting time in American politics. Like I said, I am almost finished with my civics course. I have a few little tweaks that I need to do, and as soon as I'm finished with that civics course, I am posting it on Instagram, and I will make it available to people if they're interested in it. You'll be able to download it and take quizzes and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Eric, thank you so much for your input, for your comments. I greatly appreciate that. Everybody, it is a Saturday. It is a Saturday evening. I hope that you guys go and spend some time with God tonight. That you spend some time in prayer, at least thanking God for all the things that He's done for you. Jesus is King. Jesus Christ is Lord. And I am thankful to be His son and His servant. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. And thank you once again for tuning in. I ain't a Republican, but don't push me. Getting policy, the sweetest joy next to, well, you know the rest of it. Y'all take care.